$924 billion in taxes is what the government hopes to collect from all of us as a means of covering the expenses of running Jamaica this year. So let me break that down and tell you what that means. So you know that there are different taxes that must be collected to run the country. Income tax, and they hope to collect about $321 billion in income tax, $300 billion in GCT or general consumption tax, another $66 billion in customs duties, $99 billion in the special consumption tax or SET. And before I forget the other billions, just check the caption where I've broken it down. And the reason why I went here this week is that when I looked at what a minimum wage earner was spending as a percentage of her salary, a woman, on menstrual pads, a necessity every month, which represented 6% of her monthly salary, man, those figures got under my skin. And so I decided to dig deeper, and I decided to look at other items. So let us assume that we have another essential item that costs a minimum wage earner $3,000 for that month. So if you look at it, then, you know, they spend about an average of $300 on import duty tax and another $400 on general consumption taxes. So if you were to look at the tax inclusive price of that item, it's about $700. Follow me, please. So if they're earning a salary of $60,000 monthly, then it means that they're spending 1.2% of their salary on the taxes, not even on the item, on the taxes for that single item. Whereby the same item, the tax implications to me is only 0.094%, less than 0.1% when I compare my salary, which has a monthly take-home net pay of $742,000 after paying my taxes, which is $300,000, that is taxes coming out of like statutory taxes every month. So let me put it another way. A minimum wage earner is spending 12 times the percentage of their salary in taxes than I am on that same item. And there must be a better way. So if you think of how you drive the North-South Highway, for example. So if you drive a Class 2 vehicle, the round trip cost to, say, going to Lidford from Kingston or Golden Grove is approximately $7,600. While a Class 1 vehicle driving the same route pays half the cost. So someone from the highway collection regime decided that if someone could drive a Class 2 vehicle or a bigger vehicle, then perhaps they could afford to pay a higher rate than someone who drove a smaller vehicle for the same route. Now, obviously, we live in Jamaica, and we know, say, not because you drive a Pro Box versus a Q8, it means that you have less money than or more money or whatever money. Cars don't tell how much money you have. That's not the point I'm making. The point that I'm making is that someone has taken the time to rationalize the charges. And what I'm suggesting is that the same way people can take the time to rationalize charges, we should start rationalizing the charges that we're meting out to our population and the stress that it is causing them. Because guess what? Regardless of which government is in power, whether it is a PNP government or a JLP government, you need taxes to run the country. That's undeniable and that's not debatable. But still, when they start collect the taxes from your salary, you know, I remember the first time I got my first paycheck and I looked at how much money was taken out for taxes. I was like, but this is not right, this is not fair. Where are my taxes going? What am I really paying for? This can't be right. Is our tax policy really fair or is it outdated? And so you start beginning asking these questions. And so the question I ask today, is our tax policy even progressive given where we are? Should we reevaluate our tax policy since we're not growing the economy significantly to meet our people's basic needs? In other words, when we add up all the taxes, what portion of a minimum wage earner's salary is paid in taxes compared to someone earning 10 times that amount? Should GCT be one rate on food and a different rate on a flat screen television? I mean, GCT is the government's second largest revenue earner. And I really hope that GCT collections are optimal and in keeping with what all the merchants and service providers should be paying. But let us assume that the government needs that aggregate amount to run the country, right? They do need the 900 billion. So if we reduce the collections from one area, then we're going to have to find the taxes from another area. So what I'm recommending, and what I recommended this week in my article, is that we shift the tax burden away from the working class or those persons who are low wage earners. And we transfer it to members of the public who are in better positions to afford it. And before you jump on top of me and exclaim, Lisa, you are crazy. I am tired of being taxed. I'm just tired. Let me explain what I mean. So, over time, I've suggested that we increase the food basket. And I'm not calling it a basic food basket. I think we need to get that away from our narrative because we are not basic as people, right? And we need things to live comfortably. And so I've suggested that we increase the food basket with a living basket with zero-rated customs items and GCT related items to include things like breakfast cereals, things like tea, cocoa mix, orange juice, juices, things that people really need for a balanced nutrition, but that you add things like detergent. People have to wash clothes. Bath soap. People have to wash their bodies. And that you start looking at what really goes into a person having to live their lives optimally. So not luxuriously, just optimally. And given that the customs duty revenues account for only 7% of the total tax collection, we could afford to eliminate this on basic items and perhaps transfer it to more special consumption taxed items on imported luxury food items, for example. And maybe wines, maybe other beverages, maybe grapes, I don't know. But let's look at it, because I'm convinced that there is a better way to reduce the cost of living to minimum wage earners. I'm convinced that, look, they've gotten a minimum wage increase and the government has done that, but it's still really not enough because the prices keep moving. So if we can't afford to pay them more, then let us reduce the cost of taxes on the products that they must consume. Because you see, if we reduce the financial stress and hustle in their lives and begin taking steps to move the working class to the middle, then, undoubtedly, many of our people could plan better for their future. And ultimately, it could redound to Jamaica's best interests, as all of us will end up having a more productive workforce and a healthier and a happier society. So if you're taxed and tired, then drop a comment and let's have a conversation. You can also visit my YouTube channel, or you can visit lisahanna.com or visit my Linktree page where you can see many of the articles and solutions that I've provided. Have a great week, everybody.